time of Bunuru is another most amazing time in the 6 seasons, the Nyungah 6 seasons. And it's a time that's really hot. People are hot, the weather's hot, the ground is hot, and everywhere's just hot. So it's a normal thing for people to go towards water. So whether it's the ocean or whether it's the fresh water or the lakes, under those trees, beautiful trees with the breeze going through them, it was just a very natural and normal thing to do for families to go to a place that was near water. So this Bunuru season, the time when there's that growth and you know that young ones are growing, the young animals are growing. They've started from the Jilba and then the Camberang and then moved into that growth, that time of getting bigger, you know, so that the plants that have been flowering, they've stopped flowering. Other plants have come into flowering. Those gums, they've continued to flower. And people looking at that know, you know, what's happening around us according to those animals and the plants, what's happening around the ocean, what's swimming past in this hot time. And people did come down here, and people did use the reef area when it's exposed so that they could then spearfish along the way there, dive for the crayfish as well, look for the shellfish as well. And where there's, especially in this area, there's been found those spring outlets where you get fresh water. So you had people able to camp here, people able to walk along and as a family unit to come here and spend time here. And even when the odd occasion when the whale would have beached itself, that was another time for meat and enjoying the meat of the whale. So a lot of things happen this time of the year along the waterways and along the beach area, this waterway. And people, you know, whether they camped in little huts made here or whether they camped in the caves. Just not far from us, there's some caves there, and people would have used those caves so that you got this really nice constant temperature in that cave so that everyone's cool. The little kids are cool, everyone, the old people are cool. And that's a nice constant that we can have and talk about in this area and this time, this Bunuru time. And you know, around this time as well and heading more into Gerran, salmon fish would have been coming along here as well, that salmon time. So it was almost that time, but good fishing, always good fishing with the spearing of the fish. And people would have collected some of these limestone rocks here and carried it out into the shallows so that those rocks would have also created some sort of fish trap as well. You know, we don't see evidence of that, but our cultural knowledge, the common sense stuff, would have suggested that there are things that we did based on what we know. And so it's such a wonderful time here. And around us here there's some of the Quandong plants as well. So they would have been nearing the end of that. You know, Nyungah people coming along would have been using the fruit, beautiful vitamin C fruit. And the emus, when they had a chance, they would have been eating that fruit as well, so that then they could eat that fruit, breaks down in the acid in the stomach, and then when they go for guna, that's when that fruit and the new growth of that plant would have been somewhere else, away from, you know, this area as well. So you had lots of those little bits of information that people would have been like a full book on, to do with what they're telling the little ones, the children, places like this, as well as for the adults to remember what they did here the last time. And lovely to see this place here as it is, because this place, the limestone, also has a history. The history, what happened millions of years ago, what we can look at as well. You know, whether there are ancient tree roots along the way that you might see, but they're things that we talk to the geologists about so that they give us a bit of what they see as well. That complements what we know in cultural knowledge to do with, this whole limestone coast. This doesn't stretch for a long way that way, and certainly not that way, but it's a place where the limestone tells us things as well. And where we're sitting now, those columns supported caves, a lot more caves than what we will see in this time these days. So it's pretty amazing to come here and visit and to reflect on what people tell you, what your elders tell you. And it's such a beautiful place and a beautiful time of the year.